This trial was about Palestine Action, shutting Elba down through direct action.
We want to thank everyone who's come out here day after day, week after week to support us whilst we've been on trial.
Elba is Israel's biggest weapons manufacturer. They're basically the majority provider for the Israeli army, and their weapons are used to commit genocide against the Palestinian people.
The trial was a sort of combined number of different direct actions. One of them, which was the rooftop case at Shenstone, was meant to take place in May 2021, but it was delayed, coincidentally coinciding with Israel's attack on Gaza that happened at that time that left, thousands of people dead.
The actions we were indicted for took place in 2020 after we launched Palestine Action the first 7 months.
We've been waiting 3 years for this trial to come about. It's been delayed several times and there have been lots of changes to charges. We came in being charged with blackmail, conspiracy charges to burgle and destroy Israel's weapons trade. And we've walked out here with 9 acquittals, so 9 not guilty verdicts, and 1 conviction for a small action at the former Elbit factory in Oldham, and the rest was a hung jury.
That, in a sense, is hopeful. It meant that 6 people were fighting, or at least half of them were fighting for a change.
Last year, during Palestine Action's first Crown Court case for an action at 77 Kingsway in 2020, all 5 of us were unanimously acquitted of conspiracy to cause criminal damage, and now I've just been acquitted along with others for the going equipped charge on the 5th of September 2020.
I feel absolutely no guilt about any of my actions. I was acquitted on 2 counts.
How can we be the criminals when the perpetrators of this, which we now know is a genocide, they are free to profit and we have to spend weeks and weeks in court for an action that we took 3 years ago?
Every single day we've been on trial, we've been sitting in that dock. Every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, another Palestinian has been killed, likely using Elbit's weaponry. I think there's no doubt that the jury also were aware of that. It just also shows the insanity that we are the ones facing trial while a genocide is being committed against the Palestinian people.
I don't think most people realise that this was happening before October the 7th. This has been happening for decades.
I went to Palestine in 2018 with the International Solidarity Movement as a human rights defender. I stayed there for a month and a half. I did lots of different activities, but the main one was try to prevent the destruction of a Bedouin Palestinian village called Khan al-Ahmar, which is in the E1 suburbs of Jerusalem. I like to think the direct action we took against the bulldozers that showed up one morning played a part in the village still being there at this day.
It is incredibly hard for protesters going through the court case to talk about their motivations for taking action. Defences such as necessity, protection of life are more often than not removed, which means that protesters are severely limited in how they can talk about that. We, in fact, did get to, in our trial, talk about the ongoing genocide, even though we weren't allowed to rely on this as one of our defences.
How can there not be a defence in law when you're trying to preserve life?
Elbit Systems is very much the muscle that is making this genocide possible.
The British government is not doing anything to stop this. They are not stopping the export licences. They are providing 90% of the funding for research and development for arms companies. The complicity is very, very deep.
I think what we're seeing going on in Palestine right now is a very clear reflection on why we need direct action.
I've waited 3.5 years for this trial, and 4 days before it, the British state decided via their police forces to arrest me for 5 different things and hold me just before trial on various matters. This is how the British state seeks to protect itself, and therefore any appeals to the British state are not going to work. The only thing that's going to work for us in this context here, and for us when we see those pictures on our television screens and those reports from Gaza, is for us to take direct action, to shut Elbit down, to go after all those companies that are complicit with the Israeli apartheid regime.
Elbit did not contradict anything that we were saying about what they were responsible for, and I think that's quite telling.
They sent a witness, Paul Im, who is Elbit's head of security in the UK, who apparently didn't know anything about the company, including had said in court that he'd never even been on Elbit's Israel's website.
We're trying to stop suffering and stop death, but there's these big multinational corporations and governments who profit from death.
We've had an incredible amount of support this trial. We've had people outside with flags chanting every day. We've had people packed in the courtroom every day. We've had people bringing us food, little gifts, which has been really wonderful. We can hear all the cars beeping past Snaresbrook in support of us as well, which is amazing.
All over the UK, people have been divesting from Elbit systems because of the tireless work of Palestine Action activists. No one wants to be associated with them anymore.
You occupy Palestine! We occupy them! You occupy Palestine! We occupy them! You occupy Palestine! We occupy them! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine!
The only reason that a company like Elbit exists is to uphold an apartheid regime, to uphold a human rights abusing regime, to commit genocide against the Palestinian people. It's indefensible that this company is allowed to manufacture weapons here in the UK.
We take this as a victory for us, but most of all a victory for the Palestinian people.
When you try and stand up for human rights, you become the criminal. This is not right. The legal system is not on our side.
I'm proud of what we did, and it's nothing compared to what the Palestinians go through.
They occupy Palestine! We occupy them! They occupy Palestine! We occupy them! They occupy Palestine!